A BB for Hody and straight black pride, brothers and sisters. This is your brother, DC Radical One, with another radical report. And today we will talk about a legal blow delivered by a Supreme Court justice who was nominated by former President Donald J. Trump. And we will look at this article from yesterday. Says Supreme Court justice won't block college vaccine mandate. This comes from AP, Associated Press. So let's get into this article. It says Supreme Court Justice Coney-Barrett on Thursday refused to block a plan by Indiana University to require students and employees to get vaccinated against COVID-19. Barrett's actions came in response to an emergency request from 8 students, and it marked the first time the High Court has weighed in on the vaccine mandate. Some corporations, states, and cities have adopted vaccine requirements for workers or even to dine indoors, and others are considering doing so. The students said in court papers that they have a constitutional right to bodily integrity, autonomy, and of medical treatment choice in the context of a vaccination mandate. They wanted the High Court to issue an order barring the university from enforcing the mandate. 7 of the students qualify for a religious exemption, so that would be 7 of the 8 in the lawsuit. College officials across the country have struggled with whether to require vaccinations, with some schools mandating them and others questioning whether they have the legal authority to do so. Similar lawsuits, against student vaccine requirements have been filed in other states. The court's newest justice rejected the plea without even asking the university for a response or getting her colleagues to weigh in. Justices often act on their own in such situations when the legal question isn't particularly close. Barrett handles emergency matters from the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 7th Circuit, which includes Indiana. A 3-judge federal appeals court panel, including 2 judges appointed by former President Donald J. Trump, was one of the 2 lower courts to side with Indiana University and allow it to require the vaccinations, even as legal proceedings continue. The plan announced in May requires roughly 90,000 students and 40,000 employees on 7 campuses to receive COVID-19 vaccinations for the fall semester. Students who don't comply will have their registration canceled, and workers who don't will lose their jobs. The policy does have religious and medical exemptions, but exempt students must be tested twice a week for the disease. The school recently announced that for now, everyone, regardless of vaccination status, must wear a mask indoors while on campus. Now, brothers and sisters, I find this very interesting, and for those who are what people would call anti-vaxxers, this is indeed a legal blow. Not only did Miss Coney-Barrett, in essence, reject the claims of the plaintiffs who were looking for some type of exemption or ruling in their favor against them being vaccinated, mandated to be vaccinated. But she seemed to have dismissed the case out of hand, as it said, without even consulting her colleagues. Thus, and they say, according to this article, that those things are only done when the question is not legally close. So we can infer 2 things from this. One, we can infer that it's going to be extremely difficult for a case dealing with vaccine mandates to reach the Supreme Court, based upon her actions and setting a legal precedent, as the entire legal system of America is based upon legal precedent. Two, we already know which side she's on in a situation which I believe will probably be pretty much split down the middle. Ms. Coney Barrett, with her actions yesterday, has announced her vote in any matter regarding vaccine mandates. And so that definitely strikes a legal blow for those who are trying to resist draconian mandated laws for vaccination, whether in a school setting, as we see here, or in a employment setting. Because with her, in essence, upholding Indiana University's ability to mandate the vaccine, as the article states, it not only affects some 90,000 students at multiple campuses, but it also affects 40,000 employees. The students will lose their registration and will have to attempt to continue their education elsewhere. The employees will have to attempt to find employment elsewhere. Both of these things are incredible hardships in a time of uncertainty, with an uncertain economy, an uncertain situation as far as we could possibly go back into lockdowns. There's uncertainty about the effectiveness of the current vaccines in regards to what has been the announcement of an uptick in cases based upon a new strain. Uncertainty about a strain that's supposed to be coming after what is currently the new strain, the Delta variant. There's another strain, a Lambda variant, that I saw information about yesterday. So while more and more institutions are mandating vaccinations based upon the vaccines that are currently available, more and more evidence is coming out that the currently available vaccines are not, in fact, very effective against the newer variants and strains of the C19. So we have a very interesting situation here. Legal precedent has been set by what I would think of as an unlikely source. A sitting Supreme Court judge who was nominated by President Trump, excuse me. She is the latest judge to be nominated. And I'm not sure if she's the youngest judge, but at least in this regard, she seems to lean against the conservatives from a legal standpoint. As I said earlier, her ruling here sets legal precedent in favor of those institutions that want to impose draconian pro-vaccine laws, despite questions about the efficacy and indeed safety of the current vaccines. Because, of course, the current vaccines were approved for emergency use and have yet to be approved and fully tested. Because even if they were approved tomorrow by the FDA, they still will not be fully tested for human trials. And I don't even believe they've been fully tested for animal trials. I could be mistaken. So, brothers and sisters, this is something definitely worth looking at. This is a ruling that just came out yesterday. And although I fully expect several legal challenges to vaccine mandates to go forward, and I expect them to make their way up the courts. In the grand scheme of things, by the time these cases make their way to the Supreme Court, many people will have had to have made the choice to possibly lose their livelihood, possibly halt their education, possibly have to move to other states, all in the name of, in essence, medical freedom. The reality is, the question isn't a question of one being pro or anti-vaccine. The question is, if you are an American and you claim to believe in freedom and democracy, are you okay with someone mandating a medical procedure on your fellow Americans? And then the question becomes, if you're okay with someone mandating a medical procedure on your fellow Americans, what else are you okay with? And at what point will it not be okay? And the answer to the question in these situations is usually it becomes not okay when it affects you. And then, believe me, there are many reasons why people, because of what's going on, because of people who have been sick, people who know people who have been sick, people who have lost loved ones because of this C-19 and this ongoing pandemic, I can understand their desire for people to get vaccinated. But they should also understand other people's desire to have the freedom to not be vaccinated. They should understand other people's desire to have more information. They should understand other people's desire to have questions answered, which continue to linger as more and more information comes out about the possible origin of C-19, and more questions are raised about the effectiveness of vaccines. So, brothers and sisters, this will be an ongoing and lingering issue. And this ruling and rulings that are to come will affect everyone in this country, regardless of what side of the issue that you fall on. So with that, brothers and sisters, I thank you all for listening. I thank you all for liking and subscribing to the channel. And with that, I say Abibi for Hodie and straight black pride. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also follow us on our other social media platforms. On Instagram, we're at dc.radical1. On Twitter, we're at dc_radical_ONE. And the Cash App is $DC Radical, the numeral 1. Thank you again.